Okay, so now we've reached section 4, which is conditional statements and their converses, and we are going to go over the important vocabulary. In this section, the vocabulary is very important to understand. If you can't understand the vocabulary, then you're going to have a little bit of a difficult time. We're not doing so much as math, but using logical and reasoning and using statements in this section. So definitely vocabulary. Make sure that you got all of the vocabulary words in your brain. So we're going to go ahead and just go through the important vocabulary real quick before we get started on the examples. Okay? Okay, so now that you've been able to have the opportunity to go through many of the vocabulary terms and get them in your brain, let's go through some examples that kind of help us to go through them. Okay, we'll start with example A, and we're only going to do 3 examples in this. We're going to do A, B, and C, and so hopefully you do pretty good on these. We'll start with example A. Remember, at any point, if you want to go ahead and try the problem, you can press pause at any point, okay? So let's start with example A. Okay, so example A reads, if 2 lines intersect, then their intersection is a point. This, like you learned, is a conditional statement. We have our if and then we have our then, so it's a conditional if-then statement. And they want you to identify the hypothesis and the conclusion in this conditional statement, okay? So the hypothesis is usually the first part of the conditional statement, and it's the if portion of the statement, okay? And so in this one it says, if 2 lines intersect, then their intersection is a point. So this is our hypothesis right here. If 2 lines intersect, and our conclusion is then their intersection is a point. And so this part right here would be our conclusion portion of this, okay? So if 2 lines intersect is our hypothesis, and then their intersection is a point is our conclusion, okay? Let's move on to example B. Okay, so for example B, they give us the conditional statement, if 3 points are non-collinear, then they determine a plane. Hopefully you remember from section 3 that this is postulate 1-3, okay? If you don't, that's okay. Everything is, you're learning everything, but I'm just going to recall that this is postulate 1-3 from section 3. And again, it says if 3 points are non-collinear, then they determine a plane. So they're using that postulate and putting it into a conditional statement. Example B asks us to write this statement in 2 other ways. So all I'm going to do is reword this in 2 other ways. Okay, there are multiple answers. I'm just going to provide you with 2. You can use 2 of your own if you feel that you like them better, but let's just go through 2 ways that we can rewrite this. The first way I'm going to rewrite it is kind of using the postulate. I'm just going to say any 3 non-collinear points are determine a plane, okay? And that's just taking it and taking the conditional statement part out of it. So 3 non-collinear points determine a plane. Okay, I'm getting down towards the bottom, so I'm just going to take this out, and then we'll write one more way to write this. And so I'm going to kind of use the bottom part first to write it. A plane is determined by 3 non-collinear. Okay, so the second way that I rewrote it is a plane is determined by 3 non-collinear points. Okay, both of these are ways that you can rewrite the conditional statement. They're saying the same thing, but they're different ways that you can write it. Okay, let's move on to example C. Okay, so the conditional statement that they give us for C is if you are at least 16 years old, then you can get a driver's license. They want us to rewrite this as a converse statement, okay? And you can rewrite the converse statement switching the hypothesis and the conclusion, okay? So I'm going to underline with a different color the hypothesis. Again, that is the if part. So we have if you are at least 16 years old, and the conclusion, then you can get a driver's license. And the way we write the converse is we just switch the 2, okay? So we still start with if, so I'm just going to put if, and we change it to the second part first. So if you can get a driver's license, comma, and then we're going to write the second part second, or the first part second. So then you are at least 16 years old. Okay, and this is our converse. Conditional statement, if you are at least 16 years old, then you can get a driver's license. The converse statement, if you can get a driver's license, then you are at least 16 years old. So all we did was just switch the two. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of introduction to conditional statements. That concludes section 4. Make sure you get all of your vocabulary in a little notebook, or hopefully you got it in your brain really good. And thank you.